Hi everyone, it's Kathy. Hope you're all doing well. The latest on the Guthrie case, it blows my mind. It really does on what's happening and what's not happening. Now they're concentrating on the suspect's backpack and his gun holder and the pistol he may have had. Excuse my green screen. I have got a proper green screen, but I've yet to put it up, and then it stopped me from fading out like a flipping ghost. Yeah, so I'll try and keep still as I talk, which is going to be a bit impossible. Right, as I was saying, Nancy Guthrie, we don't seem to get any further each day as we go along on this case. It's what, day 17, day 18 now? And not a lot seems to happen. I'm sure the sheriff is keeping a lot of stuff close to his chest and not revealing on a lot of things. And I would have thought by now that the sheriff and the FBI would have done a combined news press, and that to keep us informed. If it wasn't for all the YouTubers out there and the other media content people, excuse me, showing us what's going on, we wouldn't know even more than what we know now. So it's with thanks to like Brian Entin, who's the other one, Dolly Vision, and JLR Investigates, all those sort of people. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a clue really on what's going on. So I thank all the other YouTube creators that are doing something and are trying to help to find Nancy. I'm going to share this page with you, and I won't try and talk too much, because if I talk too much, then I'll probably land up moving too far. So I'll just share this screen with you. Bear with. Right. Bear with. I'm still new to this. Oh, gosh, don't want that. Hang on. Me again. Right. I had this already. No. Right, I'm going to have to get it up again. I've lost it. I can't even remember which one it was. That's 7 days ago. Maybe it's this one. Nope, because that's all pictures. Maybe it's on YouTube. Bear with me a minute. The wonders of technology. I had it already. Then I had too many tabs open. So I thought, I'll close this tab and close that tab. Let's do latest for Nancy. Latest details on Nancy Guthrie. This is going to probably be the biggest case of the whole year, I reckon. Right, that was 7. Maybe we can do this one. Just bear with me a minute, because I need to share the page with you. Cancel that a second. There we go. All right, just double check.
On 2 critical pieces of evidence in the search for Nancy Guthrie.
The DNA recovered both inside Nancy's home and on the glove located 2 miles from the crime scene have been turned over to the FBI for analysis. Retired homicide detective John Bueller is joining us right now from Tucson, Arizona. Detective, nice to have you back on Good Day. So, should we be disappointed about the DNA findings?
Well, good morning, guys. Thanks for inviting me back. I'm not really disappointed in that, because I didn't really expect much with the glove. I didn't see from my experience level how you could really connect that glove to the foreign DNA that was found in the house. Now, the DNA in the house is the one thing that I would be hopeful for. Now, everything that we heard so far is it's not in CODIS, so the guy doesn't have apparently a requirement to put his DNA into that system, even if he has prior criminal history and arrests violating violence, but the mere fact that he's in there and they can compare it with maybe family members that went into the genealogical sites and did it for recreational purposes, I'm hoping that something will come from that working backwards.
You would also think as well, me thinking about the DNA things, you got like the touch DNA and that. I know you're not going to get DNA from that glove trying to hit the ring camera off, but if he sort of like has any saliva bits because he's holding the torch in his mouth, you're going to generate saliva, in my opinion, and there should be saliva droplets maybe around Nancy's home. I don't know. And then there's also other things, he keeps on touching his gun holster, then touching elsewhere. So eventually, I'm sure he's going to land up putting that glove to his face and wiping his mouth or something because of the saliva from carrying the torch in his mouth. And then that way you can possibly pick up some tiny bits of DNA from there. I'm no expert on DNA, and all these opinions are my opinions. There's many people speculating a lot more than what I am. And I don't know if you can see it. I think it's just here on his fingertip. Knuckle here looks like it could be the little finger. They're now saying it looks like he's got a ring on underneath the gloves. To me, with that shape, it reminds me a bit like of a sovereign ring, one of those coins that are turned into a ring, but it could be something completely different. But I'll carry on playing this for you anyway.
So that's kind of interesting. They're going to go to those sites like 23andMe and see if anything matches up. Do they need like warrants for that, or, they cooperate?
Well, it depends on the site. I would get a warrant for a lot of those things because then you can't get attacked later on that you went in there. Some of the sites may require a warrant. Others maybe will just do it because they feel like cooperating with law enforcement. So you can't really draw a straight conclusion on that. There's enough sites out there to investigate and to go into. Hopefully that'll lead to something, because right now, the fact that we don't have a ransom note that has a recent photo of Nancy attached to it, it makes me skeptical about a lot of these things. And because they only give out so much information, wise for them, because they don't want to put too much out there, it's difficult for us to draw conclusions and come up with some ideas on what they're doing. I know they're working hard. There's no doubt about that, but they're pretty tight-lipped about everything.
And when we talk about some of the key pieces of evidence that investigators are also looking at, we talk about that backpack, a specific type of backpack that apparently Walmart exclusively has. Where does that lead investigators? I mean, are they going to now look at receipts and credit cards? I mean, how do they move forward with that part of it?
The way I also look at it, with that backpack and the gloves, they could be years old. He might have had them as a general day-to-day basis. The way they're speculating is they're looking at Walmart to see if anyone paid cash for it or paid by card. If they pay by card and they've got video footage, because on our tills in the UK, if you buy something on sort of like self-checkouts, they've got cameras on them. So you could be ID'd from that way. But this backpack might not be a recent purchase. It might be something he's had lurking around for ages. Or if he's a family man, it might be one of his kids' backpacks. You never know.
Well, I'm pretty sure they've already been to Walmart, to a variety of different stores, and checking to see if they have video footage from purchases. Like if you go into Walmart and you make a purchase at the self-serve, they're going to have a photo of your face. It's going to be on there. Whether or not they store that long enough so it isn't written over, that's another thing that we'd have to worry about. But the mere fact that you see the guy walking around in the camera view at the front of the house with the backpack, and the fact that it looks full suggests to me that he probably wasn't there to do a burglary, because if I went to do a burglary, I'd have an empty backpack so I can put stuff in it.
When you sort of zoom out on this, it's been more than 2 weeks that Nancy Guthrie has been missing. You've seen dozens, hundreds of cases. Are you shocked that there hasn't been more that we've learned so far about this case? I mean, as we sort of zoom out and look at it as a whole?
Well, Dan, this is an interesting thing that we worked a lot of violent crimes at the police department where I was employed, and a lot of them were murders and things like that. But the ransom kidnapping in the United States is a fairly rare crime. There's a lot of child abductions that happen with disgruntled parents going through a divorce and things like that. But an actual kidnap, like you'll see in a movie or something like that, where they have a ransom demand and they have a photo of the victim restrained, these things are really rare in domestic law enforcement. Yeah, in Mexico, of course, you got the cartels doing things like that. But up here, it's pretty rare. So the mere fact that we don't have a solid ransom note, I know TMZ has gotten some things, but I don't know if anybody has verified that there's any legitimacy behind those. It could be something as simple as somebody coming out of the woodwork and trying to get some Bitcoin because they feel there's a way that.
I wonder if that helicopter is doing that thing, I can't think of the word now, where they're trying to ping the pacemaker that Nancy had or has, and that, because I know they were saying they can fly, so high, it's like 800 to 1,000 feet off ground, and they can send signals to it. So I'm wondering, with this helicopter, might be something totally different, if they think she's closer to her home than where people are thinking she might be. So it is good to see a helicopter out and about.
You can do it, but without some solid proof that Nancy is fine and you know what you're paying for, it's really difficult to honor a reward.
Got it. Detective John Bueller, thank you so much for being with us on Good Day New York this morning. All the best.
And that was that on that one. So I'll stop. We could actually play something else. 48 minutes. Let's do this one.
Let me say
Shout
something
out
that's
to
going to
this
make some
channel.
people mad. Sometimes law enforcement will release information that's not fully accurate, and they'll do it on purpose. Not because they're lying to the public for fun, but because they're trying to force a reaction from the person who did it. And in the case of Nancy Guthrie, the kidnapping investigation, it's completely possible that some things that you think are facts, they're actually strategic bait. So today, we're going to walk through what's been reported, what's believable, and what's noise. And the one timeline window that I can't stop thinking about, those 48 minutes. Now, before we start, we don't have.
Before I carry on with this, it's nice to get hold of, I think his name is Judge Brewer. So shout out to Judge Brewer for me using his video on this. I hadn't planned to use this one. It was just what was up on the timeline at the time. So he will have some proper answers. He won't bullshit us in things like we've been hearing so far.
All the case file. We don't have all the evidence. And I'm not accusing any specific person of anything. This is commentary and an analysis based on what has been publicly discussed and what usually happens in investigations like this. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Charles. Now, I have spent 21 years in law enforcement, and I've worked cases where the public, they only see the headlines, while investigators, they're knee-deep in timelines and interviews and digital evidence behind the scenes. So this channel looks at cases through a law enforcement lens, not a rumor lens. We watch patterns, procedures, and what usually happens in real investigations when information is tight. And this case, it's weird, it's rare, and it is messy, all at the same time.
I agree with you there.
Here's why this case hits different for me. A lot of missing person cases, especially with seniors, they start with confusion. They start with medical issues or dementia concerns.
She didn't have
wandering. They might have went for a walk. But what makes this one feel like?
Personally, I think this was a targeted attack. I think the person that kidnapped, excuse me, Nancy, knew who she was and how much the family's worth. So, especially because she was kidnapped out in the middle of the desert.
Something else is the same thing that always flips the switch for investigators: intentional interruption of normal life patterns. Now, when you hear phrases like cameras disconnected, devices left behind, no medication taken, no phone, no obvious walkaway behavior, that's when law enforcement goes from let's locate a missing person to something criminal may have happened here.
So it got
And
the death.
when that switch flips, the entire investigation changes. So let me just kill the biggest myth right now.
Come on then, Judge Brewer.
You don't have to wait 24 hours, and you don't have to wait 48 hours, and you sure don't have to wait 3 days. That is movie stuff. If someone is missing, you can report it immediately, especially an elderly person and especially someone at risk. So when the family reports it, deputies respond. And now we're in the what happened here phase. Early on, that first response is usually about basic questions: last known contacts, medical needs, or family and friends, just quick checks. They're not always walking like CSI with lasers and tweezers. That matters because people love to scream they missed evidence. Sometimes they did, and sometimes they didn't. But early calls can evolve fast. Now, here's where it gets serious. When a system goes dark, camera, doorbell, Wi-Fi devices, monitoring systems at a very specific time, that timestamp becomes an anchor point. And here's the part that the public often don't understand. Digital timelines, they don't care about opinions. Digital timestamps do not care about rumors. They tell a story. So even if the media narrative is chaos, investigators are building a clean timeline. When something disconnected, when it reconnected, what pinged, what didn't, what moved, what stopped transmitting, that's where the real casework lives. So let's talk about what I think is the most important discussion point.
Can you see
for you guys in the comments?
I'm joined by Molly.
If a suspect was inside a home for roughly 48 minutes, what does that imply? Because that's not normal for a quick burglary, for a smash and grab, for a panic intrusion, and I didn't mean to situation. Most burglars, they want in and out. Most home invaders are fast, violent, and focused. So if that time window is accurate, then we're looking at one of these categories. Category A, targeted plus controlled.
Yeah.
The person came prepared. He had a plan and he felt comfortable. Option B is...
And I reckon the stuff in his backpack was probably like a plastic sheet or something to maybe try and wrap her up and carry her out so that she couldn't see the person that was kidnapping her. I don't believe they dragged her out because the blood on the porch would have been smeared. So I don't think she was dragged out. I think she was probably covered up and carried out. But there's also been no sighting of any vehicles nearby. Now, I know he's not going to park right outside our house because that would just be a totally dumb thing to do. but there must have been a vehicle at the bottom of the drive somewhere, or maybe someone else waiting in the car or a van, just waiting for the main kidnapper.
Searching for something specific, not ransacking the area, but searching. Option C is waiting, which is terrifying because waiting implies expectation. Option 4 is coercion event, meaning trying to force a password or force a transfer,
I reckon it's
force compliance. And I want you to comment on this one. If someone had 48 minutes inside, what were they doing that whole time? Because that's the question that nobody can answer publicly.
That's true.
Another detail that matters, and I agree with you guys who focus on it. A full backpack is weird.
Too strange.
Most burglars, they bring an empty bag to fill it up. A full bag can mean tools, restraints, electronics, gloves, masking supplies, something.
And thinking about it, I'm sure I heard a few days ago that a week or so prior to the kidnapping, that Nancy Guthrie actually had some work done on her car. So who's to say that the mechanic that did the work on the car, or a so-say mechanic, didn't clone her keys or something like that to enter into a house via a key that he had originally copied from her own set of keys. So that's another theory I'd thought about, is maybe, it was sort of scoped out and planned a little bit before the actual kidnapping. So that's my thoughts on that one. Like I said, these are just my opinions. They could be right, they could be wrong, I don't know. But when you get into sort of like day 18, you are starting to scratch at the bottom of the pot a bit to find something new, find something a bit more that you can get your teeth into and think, yes, we're making a breakthrough here. So I'll, carry on.
To disable devices. And in modern cases, electronics matter more than people realize, because you don't have to rob a house to steal value. You can pressure someone into digital access. Now, am I saying that that's what happened? Absolutely not. I'm saying investigators absolutely consider that angle. Now, let's clean up another TV myth. People think DNA goes into a machine and just pops out a name just like that. Real life doesn't work like that. DNA processes take time. Profiles can be partial. Contamination is real. And even with a clean profile, if the offender has never been arrested for a qualifying offense, CODIS may return nothing. So no match. That isn't a dead end. It just means this person isn't in the database. And when CODIS doesn't hit, that's when investigators consider other methods, including things like forensic genealogy in appropriate situations and jurisdictions. So let's talk about the behind the scenes work, the public never sees. Digital evidence doesn't just appear. Even when investigators move fast, the legal process often includes preservation requests, search warrants, returns from companies, extractions, analysis teams. And with a high profile case like this, the FBI presence usually means bigger digital teams, deeper analytics, broader access to resources, and just more cross-agency coordination. So when people say, why aren't we hearing anything? Sometimes the answer is simple, because the case is moving. and silence protects the operation. So now let's address your point head on.
The camera's going
yes,
off.
there are times that law enforcement releases
careful.
information strategically, not to entertain the public,
She does
but
like her
to
cuddles.
steer an offender into a mistake. Really. And here's the key. If a suspect believes investigators are focused on the wrong thing, they'll relax. If they think investigators have proof that isn't real, they panic.
The keyboard.
And if they think the public is buying a false narrative, they get angry and they try to correct it. That's how you know sometimes it provokes a phone call, a message, a movement, a disposal event, a contact with a third party. So is it possible that some released elements are deliberate misdirection? It's possible. But here is my warning. Don't let that become a conspiracy treadmill, because misdirection isn't random. It's usually tied to real investigative objective. Now, this is the part that nobody likes. The longer time goes on, the harder hope becomes. But I'm not going to sit here and declare certainty, because we don't have enough yet. What I will say is cases involving age, medical needs, no phone, no meds, and no confirmed contact.
Can you all do me a favor and put in the chat if you think Nancy is alive? Personally, I don't think she is alive, especially not having any medications. Another thing they've not done, they've shown us all around the outside of her home, but they haven't showed us the scene inside, or even said if there was like signs of a struggle inside her home. So the longer it goes on, the harder it's going to be to crack. Some cases can be, closed off and everything's found out within a couple of weeks. Look at Tepe case. They caught that murderer within 10, 11 days. This is day 18 now. And some cases never get solved. So I'm really hoping for Savannah and her family, this isn't going to be one of those unsolved cases or a case that drags on for months and months.
Those cases become extremely urgent for a reason. And law enforcement works those early hours like a house on fire, because time is not your friend. All right, I'm going to hand this over to you in the comments, because I want to hear from you. I want to see what you think. What do you believe happened in those 48 minutes? Pick one of these. Number one, searching for something. Number two, coercion or forced compliance. Number three, waiting for her to wake up. Number four, staged timeline or misdirection. Number five, something else entirely. And if you've been following this claim,
1, 4, or 5, I can't decide on. So 1, 4, and 5 is my choice. But if I had to narrow it down to one, I'd probably go with number 1. What would you all go for? Please answer in the chat as well.
This case closely, tell me this. What's the one thing, the one detail that you think everyone is overlooking here? If this kind of law enforcement breakdown helps you make sense of the chaos, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this out. Because listen, when the public stays engaged, cases stay alive.
That's true.
I'll see you all in that next video.
Right, I'll try this one. See, oh, he's gone now.
Investigators now honing in on two.
Excuse me. Let's just see if I could find him. So if I remove that from the stage, just go back a minute and see if I can find something else that's different. Breaks down key evidence. Oh, and did you all know there's a GoFundMe for Nancy Guthrie? Let me just try and find that on here for you. GoFund page for Nancy Guthrie. And then I'll share this. There's fundraiser was by Sean Breenan to help find Nancy Guthrie. Let me just share this page with you. I got too many tabs open. Right. Remove that one. Oh gosh, what am I doing? Let me just close a couple of these tabs down. That's the one I want. So get rid of that one. Get rid of that tab. Get rid of that one. So this one I need to share. So go back onto my StreamYard. Remove. Add stage. A minute. Why is it not letting me do this now? Share screen. There we go. So I'll just read out what it says. I'll just see if I can't do full screen on this, unfortunately. So it's GoFundMe helped find Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie is currently missing, and as a concerned citizen, I am organising this fundraiser to support the Guthrie family in their search for answers. The family have received information that could potentially lead to Nancy's location, but it comes from sources that are less than credible and requires the purchase of a Bitcoin to access. While there is no guarantee that this tip will bring Nancy home, the family is determined to explore every possible avenue in the hopes of reuniting with their loved one. All funds raised will go directly to the Guthrie family for the purchase of a Bitcoin, with the goal of obtaining the information that could help to locate Nancy. Any additional funds that remain after this effort may be donated to the FBI or the police department to help to recoup resources spent on the ongoing search. The situation is urgent and the family is doing everything they can to bring Nancy home safely. It doesn't matter how large or how small your contribution is, every bit of support helps to bring this tragic event closer to an end. If we all can come together, I believe we can collectively do our part in bringing peace to the Guthrie family. I know if it was my mother or my grandmother, I would appreciate every single penny and every prayer. Let's help to bring this beautiful woman home to her children and her family. So you can see they've only had 60 donations. I will make a donation to this later when I come off it. So they want to raise 65k, which was the original source of what they wanted, which was equivalent to 1 Bitcoin. And so far, they've only raised 873. Maybe it's not raised much because it's not a family member that has started this GoFundMe. But I'm hoping, if I share this GoFund as well, hopefully it will bring in some peace and that. So the organizer is Sean Breenan, maybe. You can contact them as well. So if you wanted to make sure he was kosher, then go ahead and donate to that one. When was this one? I know trouble is on going on cases, it's like repeating the same old videos and screenshots and things. So if you want to do the GoFundMe for Nancy, go ahead. Just search in your search bar, GoFundMe for Nancy Guthrie. Right, let's see what else I can bring up. So I can take off the GoFundMe because I don't want too many news items. Oh, let's see what. Oh no, that's a different mother that's gone missing. I think this was days. A minute. Let me just go back to share the screen. Video file. No, share screen I wanted. Why did I say that? Right. I think this is old news.
Has gone international. We have learned the FBI has told federal Mexican law enforcement to tell various police agencies to be on the lookout for Nancy and her kidnapper. Now, our law enforcement sources are telling us that it is possible they believe that Nancy was taken across the border, but they doubt if she is across the border that it happened directly after the kidnapping. We're told that because we know now that the FBI checked cameras, Border Patrol cameras, and also other various electronic devices. We are asked not to be specific about that, and they have come up dry. There is nothing showing any movement across the border where they suspect Nancy Guthrie was in that car. Now, that said, we're told that she could have been taken at some point after the kidnapping, a day or so later or 2 days later. They just don't know. And obviously, there is a way to get across the border undetected. But right now, they have put the word out, and so far, no luck. There is something else. TMZ obtained another ransom note today. This is a highly sophisticated demand involving a form of crypto, not Bitcoin.
Oh, this is brand
now,
new.
it is
Breaking
demanding
news.
roughly the same amount as the demand letter we received, shortly after the kidnapping, the $6 million demand. It's not exactly that, but it's close to that. The demand graphically describes the consequences if the demand is not met. It also involves the media, saying that the media essentially becomes a go-between, a trigger, if you will, for getting this ransom money. We have been asked not to be specific about any of that beyond what we've just said. We have forwarded this on to the FBI, and they are looking into it. The email that we received today does not have the same crypto account as the crypto account in that first ransom letter that we received. A couple of other things. We told you yesterday that the FBI went around to various gun stores in the Tucson area with a list of names, trying to see if anybody on that list bought a gun at any of these shops. We were told, and we told you this yesterday, that the list was created by the people who had purchased a holster similar to the one that the kidnapper was wearing. The FBI had gone to Walmart and other retailers, created this list. We are told that this did not bear fruit, that so far it turned up nothing, that there was no match here of somebody buying a gun and buying that holster, at least from that list. Couple of other things. The FBI team, there is a team that is working on just finding people who have bought items similar to the ones the kidnapper is wearing. They actually have a team contacting Walmart and other retailers, and their focus is finding matches, people who have bought more than one of these items, a backpack, a jacket, a holster, or anything else. Again, we are told that so far they do not have any real leads on that. So the bottom line, and this is a quote from a law enforcement source, we are shaking the trees looking for clues. So they are doing everything they can. There's one other thing that I was asked to mention, and that is something I know to be true. The FBI is really serious that anybody who is trying to get money from the Guthrie family with a phony demand letter is going to spend, as it was put to me, a long, long time in federal prison. The FBI does not mess around with things like that, and they are laser focused to find both the kidnapper and people who are exploiting the Guthrie family.
Right. So as you can see there, that was latest news on that one. If you can all do me a favor and click the like and subscribe, that would really help me out a lot. I need to get up to 100, which is the YouTube's goal for people that starts out. And if you fancy buying me a coffee as well, the link is down below. And it's buymeacoffee.com stroke Kathy P. And if you want to email me any cases that you would like me to follow, it's truecrimefiles2026@gmail.com. And please like and share this recording. Till the next time, bye.